Today's treat is called Cappuccino cinnamon rolls, and I want you to see what they look like. They are humongous, and you can make 12 of these in a beautiful 9x13 pan. And I usually make these kind of rolls around holiday time because you have Christmas, Thanksgiving, and people like to munch on a little breakfast treat, and this one is absolutely awesome. And this is what I use. I love this handled 9x13 pan, and this is what I use for the mix. And you'll see how easy it will be to get it out. I'll show you how to prep the first few ingredients. So you have the yeast, and then you want to add a cup of warm water, like so. Next, you're going to have a cup or a cup and a quarter of warm milk and some sugar. Then take softened butter and add that to the bowl, along with a little bit of salt. And the last thing you'll do is add 4 cups of flour. And just let it blend in for a short while. You see how it's mixed in, and I'm just going to slowly add another few cups of flour. I stopped the machine and I'm changing it to a hook. And what this does, for the next 6 to 8 minutes, it will knead the dough. And you can choose to knead it by hand if you like, but this is far easier, so watch. Now that I've finished kneading the dough on the dough hook, I'm going to take and spray a big bowl and put the dough in and turn it over just once. I'll cover it, and then I'm going to bring it to a warm place so it'll rise, and that'll be for 1 hour. Okay, it's been an hour, the dough has risen, and the first thing I'm going to do is take and put some flour on a mat, and it's 12 inches by 18 inches. And I'm going to roll out the dough, and I'll put it with melted butter over all, within a half an inch of the edge, because you don't want it to like leak out. And so you punch it down and take and put it on the flour, and then you're going to roll it out. Okay, a little trick, when you are doing a mat, it does have the measurements on the side, and you can also make a fingerprint of a flour, just a little bit of flour, just to let you know where the marker is for how large this piece of dough should be. And now what I'm doing is I'm spreading some melted butter over the entire mat, and then I'll take a mixture of brown sugar, and we have some coffee granules and some cinnamon, and I'll put those all together, and I'll put them down within a half an inch of the edge of this piece of dough. And there you have all three ingredients: the sugar, the cinnamon, and the coffee granules. And now we're ready to spread it. Okay, so again, a reminder, the filling is within a half an inch of the edge of the dough. And just spread it with your hands. Remember, fold it over and then begin to roll. It's very easy. It's a tight fit, and it rolls up very easily. Good. A little trick to help you cut each of these rolls so that the entire thing comes out to 12. You start in the middle, use the back of the knife, and just make a slight indentation. And then just go over to the left, and again, try to get in the middle. 1, 2, 3. Again, on the side, 1, 2, 3. And then you can add a few indentations on each end. And then when you see the big indentation, another 2, and again, another 2. And so you have your 12. You can see it carefully here. It's pretty even. And this is what they'll look like. It's a tight fit, but it's good because they won't fall apart and open up. And here's the last 4. So you just tuck them in. Now I'm going to cover these for a half an hour and let them rise. So you'll see how they'll expand. So you just cover it over, put it in a warm place, and just wait and see how they look. Now that the rolls have rested for 30 minutes, you'll see that they have gotten a little bit bigger. How's that? And I'm going to put it in the oven for another 25 minutes. And then I'll show you how to make the topping, and then we'll eat one. There it is. It should be done. Whoa. Look at that. You see how they swell? And I'll just let it rest for a couple of minutes. And I have all the ingredients here. And you gotta be careful because confectioner sugar can fly all over the place. So I'm going to take the melted butter. They say softened butter, but melted is fine. When we mix everything, the confectioner sugar will get blended in. And if I decide to do the electric mixer, hopefully it won't be too bad. But we'll work with the other ingredients first. I'm going to take half a teaspoon of vanilla and a few tablespoons of milk. And they do say use a cappuccino mix, but I decided that I would strain some coffee granules, and that will suffice. So you see, I use a little spoon, a measuring spoon, and I strain it, and this is how it comes out. And it's perfectly well blended and strained. And put that in, and hopefully we will take and mix it all together. I feel more comfortable just using a spatula rather than the electric mixer, and it seems to be doing a great job. So I'll just wait a few minutes for the buns to just cool down a little bit, and then I'll spread this over all. Here it goes. Buns are still warm, and so the topping will melt in. Wow. And very last, this just made it. And I want to make sure that the handles are God, if you could, look at that. That is delicious looking. And I hope, most of the time is taken to just be patient, let things rise, and you have to wait in between different steps. But it's really a delicious treat. It's almost like a meal. So here goes. Maybe you'll put it in with your recipes for the holidays. Enjoy. I got to thinking about these beautiful big cinnamon rolls, and I decided that I would show you how to preserve them and store them in the freezer so that you can give them out to friends, family, and they'll still be as fresh as ever. So watch what I do and you'll see how one of these can make a meal. First, you start off with an aluminum foil pan, and it will fit 2 cinnamon rolls. So what I'll show you first is one big cinnamon roll that I'll tuck in, like so. And then I have freezer paper, and freezer paper is shiny on one side, dull on the other, does very, very well in the freezer. And you take a few inches and just cut it, and you'll put it to the side, and then you'll take a second roll, put it in, and make sure that the paper is tucked in nicely, and there you have 2 of them. You take a piece of cellophane or saran wrap, put it over the pan, and then adhere it snugly. And then if you have a freezer bag, you will put it in there, and it will remain in the freezer until a friend or family member enjoys this wonderful treat. So that's one way. Another container, a carry-out, works very well. It's not very big, but as you can see, there's one. That's a big roll. And here's another humongous roll. And I will take the paper and make it a little bit longer and make sure that it too goes right in the middle. And if you have to, just tuck it under and it won't stick. You'll put the lid on it, and there you have another delightful treat for someone to enjoy. Now here's my freezer bag, and I have room for 4 rolls, and then I usually label it so I know how long to preserve it and to make sure that I give it away while it's fresh, but still having it in these freezer bags is the best way. And I hope this has helped, and I hope that your friends and family members can enjoy this delightful treat.